Okay. So, I always, first of all, being from Three Rivers and growing up in Three Rivers, and when I came hoping that I would be treated well, like most people, most CrossFit gyms treat people, you guys immediately were like, "Oh yeah, hey, come on in," and I was like, "That's fantastic." And I got super excited, and I was like, oh, "I'm originally from Three Rivers," and you were like, "Oh, that's awesome!" And your son was there, I believe, Bear or something like that. I can't even remember, like something like that. And I was just like, it just made me happy, right? Because I was like, this is what a gym is supposed to be, and it was awesome. And so I ended up meeting Azariah Granite Games last year. Was it Granite Games?
He was at the Granite Games.
Yep.
So Granite Games must have been last year. I don't know. The whole open thing screwed me up. 2 opens is so messed up. But the Granite Games, and just hearing that he was from Three Rivers and stuff, it just made me happy. And then so I ended up I was helping to coach Sophie Shaft, and I was helping to coach Lily Rodriguez. And so I also ended up being their agent, kind of just because I like to talk to people. And so I was like, dude, traveling is expensive, and it's obviously they're going to keep doing this. So can you people help us out? And so that's how I ended up trying to reach out to Azariah as well, because he wanted Tupood. He loved Tupood stuff. And so I was like, all right, and he's like, but I kind of want them my own. And so that was just kind of in the back of my head. And then when I saw, because I interviewed Lily for maybe just before May 1st, so just before the announcement of what was going on for this channel. And she, was explaining, hopefully she qualified, barring any weird stuff. And then when they came out and said, they weren't going to be able to do any age qualification stuff, it makes sense. It doesn't mean it sucks any less, And so when, people started posting, like Sophie and all the other people that I'm pretty decent friends with, I was just like, man, because I felt disillusioned when I was at the games last year, because I didn't see any adult competitions because I was helping out 2 teen athletes. So I was like, oh yeah, I walked by Tia Claire Toomey's husband and talked to him. Like, that's all I did. That was the biggest thing I did. When I saw that you guys, because I've still, been in contact with Azariah, just because he's, having gone through the injury, and then, starting a real school, not real school, sorry, that sounds bad, but, like a traditional school and stuff. Because for me, the reason why I coach is not so I can hear how amazing I am as a coach. Most of the time I coach because I truly want to just connect with people, and my whole why in life has been to help people reach their potential, add value to their own lives. And, connecting with Azariah and his dad. And then as soon as you guys posted this, I got so geeked, and I was just like, yes, yes. And my wife's like, is this it? Or did we finally break? Or what's going on? And I'm like, kind of explained it to her, because the disillusionment came with, there was no real, like, Reebok gave them gear. And you guys remember how crazy, like, they literally just went to roll around in it on the bed, because they were like, wow, And that was kind of, and then what I did like was almost like how they did the walk-in, like the Olympics. That was really sweet. I thought that was top notch, because everybody felt really cool.
Yeah, you felt like the teams were kind of not getting enough attention.
100%.
Yeah.
And then and now you don't necessarily get the regular announcers. So I had one of my friends who was there taking photos. He's been there a couple times, and he did our photos and stuff for the Granite Games Throwdown. He did a lot of videos or pictures for Sophie and try to get Lily in some video pictures and stuff. Because I thought it's kind of crazy that I have to be the one to try to get some memories of this amazing event. And then there was like I'm not saying they have to put a Buttery Bros movie together at the end for the kids. I know, like, I understand that. But realistically, parents will pay if kids want gear. Parents will pay if kids want a movie. If kids want a commemorative something, parents will buy that. And so it wasn't even, in my limited mind of business, it wasn't even an issue of financial. It was almost like it had gotten so big that even just dealing with the 18 to 34-year-olds was overwhelming. And so they became a second thought. And so when you guys made the point of we're gonna try this, I felt directed and compelled to be like, you know what? I want to help. But one of the things that I found out is just because, and you being coaches, you know this, just because everybody could use help doesn't mean they want it and doesn't mean they're ready for it. And so instead of me just saying, yes, I'm going to help you, like I'm still married, so I do this often and I still get reprimanded and redirected, and I don't learn all the time, but right now I've kind of learned. And so luckily all I'm doing right now is coaching. I still have 2 girls from the U of M weightlifting team that I coach because I help. That's what I've been doing for the last 4.5 months, 5 months. And so
we have an athlete that he did powerlifting and some CrossFit with us. Now he lifts for U of M.
Cool.
Yeah.
Yeah. I like him.
Local. Yeah. Okay.
And you guys actually, I think you might have helped coach. I can't remember her name, but Hevelyn.
Oh yeah.
So
she's still there.
Her dad was my best friend growing up, Sean.
Oh, Sean, yeah. Gotcha.
Oh really? Okay. Yeah.
So I was like,
yeah, he's one of our good friends. Yeah.
Yeah.
She still goes to high school, and then her brother goes to Michigan, So yeah.
So
Jalen's Harbaugh's assistant. Yeah.
Yes, I know. He's the khaki manager. He does all the. Yeah, it's funny. So yeah, I have connection, and I have, and like Shada Reeves came to my gym, and she was like, is it okay? And I was like, whatever you need, I'll work around whatever you need. Because once again, she is hardworking and genuine, and I was like, you know what, you're amazing. And then she actually helps out at the gym where U of M trains out of in Ann Arbor at Wolverine Strength. So I was like, hey, so a lot of connection. But when I got a hold of Azariah, because I figured, wow, where I can be helpful is I have a lot of connections with, like, I'm friends with a lot of people. Like I said, I was an agent to 2 people who had paying gigs as teenagers. So I'm friends with people from Zevia and Ramwad and Chesty and, Fit Aid and blah, 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 whatever those things. So I was like, hey, I would love to figure out a way to make this work because.
So what do you look at yourself doing? What do you look at yourself doing? Like setting up ways for these kids to get like sponsorships and things like that?
Yes. And so originally when I called Azariah and I just said, hey, if it's okay with you guys, ask Brock and whatever, but if it's okay, I would like to reach out to all my contacts I've ever made and just say, hey, let's do this. Let's make this happen. Whatever that means, I don't, like, if I'm not involved, that's okay. Because one of the things I've been trying to do is if I'm in charge of what the outcome's going to look like, it's going to be a poop show, really. Like, I don't know. So if I'm available to be of assistance and help, things always work out well because that's my why. And he said, oh, that would be wonderful if you could maybe just reach out to some of the athletes. And once again, I'm friends with Faith Ferguson. I'm friends with Brad Berlin and I know Jadzia, and so I know a lot of the people that this would be affecting, Paige Powers and all those people. And I was like, whatever I can do to be of service. And then he's like, well, as Ryan said, here, talk to my mom. And I ended up talking to Stephanie, and I'm like, this is weird, because she keeps saying stuff, and I went, wait, what? And she started telling me just her story, and I was like, okay, however I can help, that's what I want to do. Because once again, I said, you have to let Brock know, or what. I'm not going to, I don't have an agenda. My agenda is just to help whatever people need. And then she's like, yeah, I'm an ER nurse. And I was like, you know how many people are going to want to help just by that alone? Like, you know what I mean? Something as simple as reaching out to airlines and say, listen, we have people from hard hit countries who want to come do this, that earn their spot. Do something. Can we do something for them? Because the person who's setting it up is an ER nurse. Do you know what I mean? Like, just people, because 2020 cannot be a lost year. I've made the most emotional growth I've made in decades because I've taken advantage of the opportunities I've been given. I'm also blessed that none of my family, my father-in-law had it pretty bad when he flew back to England after he left us. My parents had it in January because they were on a cruise, even though it wasn't really being tested then. But my immediate family, we haven't really been affected personally. Like on my channel, I've interviewed 2 of my families that were from CrossFit, 3 of them that their whole family had it. One of the dads, they thought the 2 of them thought the dads were going to die. It just create like horrible stuff. And I'm like, it doesn't have to be, I don't know what it needs to look like, but it doesn't have to be a wasted year. And then as soon as you guys showed me that, because I didn't know about the ranch. And so when you showed me those, I'm going, whoa, that is silly. And that hill looks disgusting and amazing at the same time. I'm not going to lie. I was like, oh, I would have so many breakdowns on that hill, even without a ruck or a vest. I'd be like, how many times can I stop and tie my shoe? Can I change shoes mid-run? And
Yeah.
so the more I talked to Stephanie, the more I was in line with everything she wanted to do to just love on these kids, right? And just create a community. But also I thought, if CrossFit's kind of, because I know they want to help, they created CrossFit Kids, and they want to kind of get back to old school CrossFit, which is inclusive.
Yeah, one of the things I want to talk about real quick is like a big thing that Steph has brought up a couple times too, and that you brought up earlier, that I feel like it's kind of like a delicate subject, is that the teens are being neglected or whatever by putting in that back burner. Because it's like the thing is the CrossFit Games is an event that was built for the elite athletes within that one group. You know what I mean?
Yep.
Like
Yes.
24, 25-year-olds are the ones who are the premium, the pro, like they're all pros in their own right. But that's why they are the main event.
Correct.
So in my opinion, I think that it is a more healthy situation for these teens and masters athletes who have to earn the right for that main stage. And I don't mean that in any disrespect to them. Obviously,
No.
we love the teens. I mean, they're our thing, you know. That's how, you know.
And we're masters too. So
Yeah, and we're both masters. So, but with that all being said, I, as a masters athlete, realized that if I wanted to be on the big stage and be in the Coliseum under the lights on Friday night and have, you know, the place packed and cheering and on Buttery Bros documentary, then I need to compete with them and go through the same channels they did and be that person and on that level. And I know that when I was a kid and I was in high school and I played football, I thought I was good, but I didn't think I deserved to be on ABC with the guys that are playing the NFL. You know what I mean? But I did know that if I did want that, I better fucking try hard.
Yes.
And and dig in and instill the same types of qualities that those mentors of mine had and do the things that they did to get there. And because, I mean, if everybody, if they just got it, then it'd be like, oh, that's it. I've hit it. I've hit the top, and
Yeah.
I was highlighted on a, document. I mean, I'm not saying any of that stuff is wrong, but I just do want to point out that that's not our main focus, is that the teams aren't getting treated fair and we're going to take over and be this big team. You know what I mean? I just want to be clear on that, because our whole mentality and leadership direction that we lead these teams into is more of a, you got to work for it. If you want that, good. We want it for you too. But the only way you're going to get it is to earn it.
Yeah. Well, no, and so it's almost like a lack of a better term when I say, when I was, you're
I
right.
wasn't trying to disagree. I was making sure that was dead and go.
Well, and that's one of the things too, is it's, what I saw CrossFit doing in general, like, or at least Glassman was doing, was he was pulling back to get kind of back to his why. You know what I mean? So whether I agree with it or not, having a bunch of high-level athletes at the gym, it didn't make for a lovely conversation, but it was great for mental strength and mental toughness. But it was, once again, it's yes, they it's like a stepping stone. So I love that, and I think it is important, but I also think it's okay to say, this is the pinnacle of what you can do in this area. This is your pinnacle.
There you go.
And so, and so what I'm trying to do is, I love that it's clear, but your guys' message is clear. As a team, this is your Valhalla.
We don't want to take that away. Because this is what
it's not diminished at
all.
all.
We don't take that part away. We're not trying to take away what CrossFit's doing. We just want to take that away from the teams. Yeah.
It's understanding. So this is a little taste. This is wonderful. This is amazing. This is, yes, we're going to make it special, but guess what? It's special because you earned this. Now it's like, it goes even from like high school to college. So working with college athletes. And one of the other things I'm working on getting involved with is transitioning people from athletics to life after athletics, because from college to pros, it's 2%. And that's just men, really, because women are even less, because there's less opportunity right now. So,
I would argue to say that that's probably pretty close to the same odds.
Yeah.
In CrossFit.
Yeah.
From teen to actually go to that pro level. I mean, I don't know what those odds are, but you don't see every single team that was top 10 when 17-18 go even qualify for the games the next year or 3-4 years. You know what I mean? I mean, there's a couple, but I don't know what that percentage is.
Outliers.
You know what I'm saying?
Even Haley Adams. Haley Adams is absolutely amazing. I'm pretty sure she broke off her stop button at some point in her life. After looking at that ruck and all that blood and stuff, I was like, and that's mainly why, because she's like, oh, all right, like scars are cool, right? Cool. But what I like is, I think it's okay to be its own entity, because if it, from a business standpoint, financially, it can be its own entity because it can take care of itself financially. Same with the age, like the masters and stuff, because they tend to have more, money realistically, because they all work and stuff. But my thing was, I know a lot of the companies and the people that I was close to in those companies, the reason they like the CrossFit teens and kids in general is because what's the first thing when somebody's been at the gym for like 2-3 months? Man, I wish I would have done this as a kid. I wish this was around as a kid. And I have a almost 14-year-old and an 11-and-a-half-year-old. And so understanding, having, at least Olympic weightlifting now is really incorporating the youths. And, I'm also kind of friends with Kate and I. And I had her come to the gym once and just do a training session and explain to people what she's thinking when she's training and stuff. But my whole purpose of wanting to help and offer help is mainly to provide some positivity in 2020, because it is.
No, yeah, I get it, dude. I get it. I mean, you really don't even have to explain much more, because we would be doing the same thing if you were going to say your whole event. Because like we've had multiple gym owners and head judges and judges of regional and sanctional and games events and all different types of people reach out to us for help. And that is the pure beauty of the CrossFit community.
Yes.
Is it not? And that's kind of what it's going to take to really have CrossFit make a difference. Like Greg Glassman's clearly done a magnificent job of spreading and building this platform that he has. But it's going to take more involvement from people within the CrossFit community to take this to the next level of change. And that's what we're seeing and feeling right now from all of the local affiliates and not so local. I mean, you guys aren't super close. What are you, 2.5 hours away or so?
Yeah, 2.5.
Yeah. So I mean, I guess what I'm getting at is it's like, I feel you. And we definitely have plenty of room for you. So, I mean, I'm just kind of speaking for Autumn, but I mean, I think we could use your help in however.
Yeah, I just think some of the feedback we're getting from the teens specifically is this legitimate? How do we know it's legitimate? And I think having people, unfortunately, that's how it goes. If you have some of the bigger names involved, that legitimizes it. And if you have some contacts that can kind of attach themselves to it, that would definitely be to our advantage to start to see some of that be legitimized and that move it forward in that direction too, for sure.
And I think it's funny because kids are usually more adaptable,
right?
But driven high level athletes are very much like, it's just like CrossFit, right? You're like, yeah, it's the unknowing and unknowable, but I'm going to do that, but only in the way I want to do it. And you're like, that's not how it's set up. And that's the feedback I've been given, because I reached out immediately when I spoke to Azariah and Stephanie. I reached out to some and they're like, well, we don't want it to just be another competition. And I'm trying, once again, I am more of promote or attraction rather than promotion, because it's one of those things. If you earned your right, then your mental state is going to dictate how you approach the competition anyway. So if it's a local Lex Artist competition, but you're like, you know what? I earned my spot to go there.
Yeah.
Did you earn your podium spot? Did you earn 5th spot? Did you earn 1st in that workout? You know what I mean? And so
yeah, I mean,
there's just little barriers, right? So everybody's going to have barriers.
Yeah, and we're working with CrossFit HQ actually right now. So
that's awesome.
And that's gonna solidify the fact that the team can still be crowned fittest teen on earth, or
yes.
fittest, and that would be huge. We need them involved for that reason, because
it's going to feel good to be the fittest teen if all the fittest teens are there. Yeah. And so we need to get them there by having this be backed by you guys. So
yes.
You guys and other people that can help us get it there. It's going to feel good if all of the top 10 are actually there. So if
yes,
the top 3 aren't there, kind of, you lose the legitimacy of that too. Yeah.
And that's the thing is, especially teens, their focus is, which is to an extent right, their focus is, but I want to be this level, I want to be this level, is which in my brain, once again, this is why I'm an elite coach, not an elite athlete, because I'm thinking this might be your only opportunity to showcase you know what I mean? So why would you not? But once again, understanding they're like, but if it's not the same, it's not real. And I don't want, and you're right. So, but I love everything you're talking about. And that's why I said, like, I don't even care how I can be of service and help. I'm there, and I want to bring as much, anything I've ever done over the years. I'm just going to basically, if, that's why I was asking you guys, I'll reach out to everybody. I'm one of those people.
Yeah.
mean,
Well, do you have a copy of the press release that Steph wrote? Okay,
PDF, yeah.
shoot that around. You know,
Okay.
that'd be big. You know, that'd be a great way to start into your good contacts. You know, and then say, hey, you know, if you have contacts to the people that you're talking to, if you have contacts that you know you think you could get this to, start that whole snowball of referral train. You know what I mean? Of like just consistently getting it, making it so go viral, so to speak, or whatever. And get that info out there first. Then, I mean, we've got new commitments coming in every day, you know, and I think we're up to like 13 or something along the lines of that, which isn't 40, but we just started like 6 days ago. I think
Exactly. I'm like,
yeah. So, I mean, and we've got Rory involved. We've got HQ involved. They're not committed yet because obviously all this is
yeah.
under in the works still. And Autumn and I have a lot to talk about still as far as, you know, what direction she wants to go with the COVID guidelines and things like that, you know. So yeah. So I mean, we're we're making steady progress. You know what I mean?
Yep.
Like controlled. And number one is obviously the safety of everybody and protecting our reputation. And, you know, number two would be providing the most elite, professional, completely high level experience for these kids that we can. And that's going to take, you know, they're going to want stuff. We're going to get them as much crap as we can get them, you know, Reebok and Tupu belts. And we have a good relationship with Tupu. We have some relationships as well, you know? Yeah. So these different things are going to all come together to make this experience what they want. And I think that's what it's going to take, is just kind of showing them that it is going to be legit. It is going to be all the things that you're thinking it may or may not be. Yeah. And then just solidifying it, like, hey, even when we get sponsors involved, we're going to start popping up, you know, committed, you know, Tupu committed to sponsor this event, yada, yada, you know, all these different things. Chessie, I saw an email from them. That probably was something to do with you. And, you know, yeah, thank you for that. And then, you know, just, different avenues like that. And then just, you know, social. I mean, these are kids of 14 to 17. Instagram is where they live. I mean, literally. I mean, I would say, I would hate to even know the average amount of hours per week the teen athletes spend on Instagram, because whatever that average is, mixed with the average hours of training they do, I would imagine that is 95% of their life over the last 8 weeks. Yeah. You know, so they need to see it. It needs to be out there. It needs to be public as much as possible.
Well, that's awesome. I am super excited. I'm going to stop recording in just a moment, and then don't hang up though. Is there anything else you want to say before we go? Because I mean, once again, you guys, I thought hit your purpose is very clear, and the fact that we know it's going to take a community, right? And that's what CrossFit was built on.
I think the final thing is just we are taking the lead from CrossFit with their games. If something happens where they can't go forward or they're making changes, we're just going to follow their lead with spectators and canceling or not you know, so we are still, that's why some of this is still a little up in the air just based on the unknown, but that's what we're going to follow their lead. And then Michigan, you know, we're in Michigan, which is a little bit more of a conservative state right now with all the guidelines. So, and then we just have to keep following those guidelines too. Yeah. Unfortunately.
Yeah, but like you guys, 65 acres.
Right.
Yeah.
And that is also why we picked September. We figured the longer we could push that out, that also gives CrossFit time to do their event, gives us some time to organize based on what they did. And then, you know, being a month out of, or a couple days out of the month of August, maybe that would give us a little bit more time for restrictions to be where we need them to be too.
I think that's really smart. Because originally I thought, for some reason, I don't know why, because when I saw it like May 31st, I was like, whoa. Well, but then I reread it. I was like, okay, I'm not freaking out. It's just like, whoa. All right. Well, thank you guys again. And like I said, I'm super excited. Don't hang up though, please.
All right.
Gotcha.